My name is Andrew Wade, and this is my story. I met my wife spring of 2005 when Shanoa joined Prairie Central. Got married in August of 2008. I was 20 and she was 19, and looking back, I don't know what we were thinking. In March of 2014, she told me that she was pregnant on November 14th is Tuesday morning. Woke up and I was heading out the door to go to work, and Crystal was telling me, I just don't think something quite right here, and she described her symptoms to me, and I kind of brushed it off as just a mother's worry. I went to work, and a couple hours later she called me and said, I just still don't feel like something's right, so I'm gonna go to the hospital. In triage, her blood pressure just kept continuing to climb and climb and climb higher. And so we assumed that the doctor was going to finally give us some blood pressure medications and send us on our way. And they came in and they said, well, we have to do a C-section in the next hour. I remember the doctor saying, here's your baby. And I saw this Smurf come over top of the curtain, bluer than I've ever seen any pictures of any other child, and sat there for what seemed like an eternity waiting for him to cry. When he did finally cry, it was a really small whimper, and they kind of just shoved him in our face, said, here's your baby, he needs more help, we're going to take him to the NICU now. Probably an hour or two later, when she finally was stable, a nurse took me down to the NICU to see him. Later that night, Crystal woke me up and again told me something's just not right. Nurse came in and checked her, and they told me later that had she not woken up, it was likely that she would have died. She was just moments away from having a major stroke. So then the next day, the doctors came in and said, we need to take Aiden to St. Francis. We can no longer care for him here. A couple days later, she was all back to normal and she was discharged. So then we were both spending time in Peoria with Aiden. And so a week later, November 21st, it's the day before Thanksgiving, we got stopped at the reception desk, which was unusual. Normally we could just come and go as we wanted. And they said, we need you to wait out here. The doctors want to meet with you. And so when they finally let us back in the room and they sat us down and they said, the problems with the breathing and the heart rate that your son is having, the only explanation that we have left is that his brainstem was not formed correctly. Sad to inform you that your son will die, and all we can do at this moment is just keep him comfortable. And we'd like to do this MRI just to verify our thoughts. And so they took him off to do the MRI, and they finally came in and said, well, the good news is that we were wrong. His brainstem is formed correctly and he's gonna live. But you need to understand that what we did find was all these areas of brain damage. And your son will never walk, he will never talk. You need to prepare yourself for having a special needs child that is gonna need around the clock care for the rest of his life. The doctors were wrong. He runs everywhere, he's a straight A student, and he's got the best loving personality of anybody that I've ever met.